Hello, everybody. This is Glenda and Buster with AKA GK Fralin of Friendly Community. And our friendly community welcomes you. Today, I felt the need to discuss changes in the brain with Alzheimer's, which is what my mother has, and also perspectives in life and learning and dealing with people. I hope you enjoy it. I just saw something, and it still kind of got me kind of a little bit edgy and anxious. I think all of you know, or most of you know, that my mother has Alzheimer's and has been in this process now for several years. We don't know how much longer we will have her, but I do like to watch medical stuff. I've told you that, and I've even watched some stuff, work on cadavers and that kind of stuff, because they're able to show you the actual inside of the human body and how these things are all together, and they point out different parts of it that otherwise you never see, never really know about. But as a nurse, I've worked with several Alzheimer's patients. I know what Alzheimer's does to the brain as far as education-wise and as far as seeing how people act. And I remember one, because visual perception is one part of it. It can get very skewed. And this one woman, she was getting very uncooperative with the nurse's aides and calling them demons who stole her children. And they were getting upset by it. And I said, listen, guys, this is what she sees. She actually sees this. Doesn't make it true. But in her mind, that's reality. Anyway, today they were comparing a normal brain, and these were brains from people who had passed on and donated their brains. And they were comparing a normal brain to an Alzheimer's brain. And for one thing, the Alzheimer's was about half the size. They were going for the same age, and everything, with one being a normal brain and one being the Alzheimer's brain. And he explained it very well. It just made it so much more real. And it's enlightening. It's very enlightening. But when you have a family member suffering from it, it can be a little bit of a shock. So, but I'm so glad I watched it. I am so glad that I made myself stick with it and watch it, even when it was starting to make me nervous. Because sometimes you just have to push past some of that stuff. But for me, it's important for me personally that I understand and that I see what's going on. I learn in all different kinds of ways. I am visual, auditory, I can book learn. I'm just kind of one of those all-around type of learners. Now, there's certain ways I learn best. Auditory, I am not so well unless I've got visual to go with it. Because depending on the lecturer, if the lecturer is someone who is very interested in their topic and makes it exciting, I can be so engrossed in what they're saying. But if they're kind of droning on, yeah, I'm like the rest of you. I just kind of after a bit. Anyway, which in school can get you in a little bit of trouble. Anyway, and to move on to another topic that has to do with learning. My son was hyperactive. Now they call it ADHD or ADD. At the time he was diagnosed, the government was not yet funding for hyperactivity because it was a new diagnosis. ADHD hadn't even been a diagnosis yet. So they had to put him in as a behavioral disorder. That ran with him all through school and even beyond. Anyway, I was a fidgeter. I would fidget. And my sister-in-law, who is a school teacher, she also noted this. But actually fidgeting can help you concentrate. And Tony's third grade teacher, she understood that somehow. Through her observations, she was an observant and very caring teacher, and through her years of teaching, she noticed certain things about each child, and that's so important. But she noted that as long as Tony was not disturbing the class, that sitting there and just twiddle, she showed him how to just kind of sit there and wiggle his pencil without making a lot of noise or drumming on the desk a lot, just kind of wiggle it. And his concentration level went way up. And he gained like 2 grade levels in reading, and that had been one of his worst problems. Unfortunately, the next teachers didn't feel the same way. But I remember there were years where teachers liked me, and there were years where teachers just they probably liked me okay. I was a student, but they probably just were so irritated by the fact that I would sit there and I would, but I did get a little noisy. I would drum my fingers. I would do things, and but they helped me they were a nervous tick for me. I have lots of nervous ticks. I know you guys have seen a lot of them. And part of that is because I've always been a nervous person. But anyway, there are so many different facets to learning. And it's something that I think needs to be stressed. I know they have started teaching about the different types of learning as far as auditory, visual, like reading or seeing actual demonstrations and that kind of thing. There's even oral learning. That's what a baby does first, is oral learning. But I think they need to go deeper with it. Because my sister-in-law said that she tended to, she would doodle in one of her master's level classes. And the instructor just did not like that at all. Didn't think she was paying attention. And she said, I was paying attention. It's when I'm not doodling that I can't pay attention. Because it keeps, it keeps that part of the brain that's busy all the time peaceful. And that's something a lot of them don't understand. And it's not because they don't want to understand it, they just haven't experienced it. And it's always been taught as abnormal behavior or as not conducive to learning. But until people like me, my sister-in-law, my son, his teacher, are able to articulate that this is a process that does help. My son, the best way to keep him happy growing up, without rolling all over the living room or bouncing off the walls, was to give him Legos or a puzzle. That kid put together more puzzles. He got to putting them together so fast I couldn't keep up with buying them. So that's just my little spiel for the day. But anyway, there's so many things about learning and about the way the brain works. Now, one thing this video, I've thought for a long time about donating my body to science for study. And with my lungs and stuff, there could be a lot to learn. I don't know about the brain, if they can, while the brain is not functioning after it's dead, if they can actually tell the difference between a bipolar brain and a non-bipolar brain, pie, you get this thing, it's like a pizza all sliced up. No, you gotta have a sense of humor. But the thing of it is, my anxiety is better controlled. I felt anxious watching that, but I was able to get through it. That gives me a big pat on the back. I'm happy about that. I hope that was something you can either relate to or that can give you some perspective on something or someone in your life. And it's stuff I'm learning as I go. I'm no expert. I am sharing what I've learned, what I'm learning from experts, and what I've learned from life. So tomorrow's another day, and I do have more. It'll be touching on bullying and how it can affect you through life or how you can get past it. I just want to say good night. Me too. Please be nice to each other. This is why she's always saying kindness is so important. It really is. It is so extremely important, and the younger children learn it, the better. So until tomorrow, with part 2, with me in the same dress, I'll see you then. Good night.